and she got to go to interesting places. So, if her employers wanted to believe in hooey, who was she to argue? Now, though, looking at this impossible statue and the low altar slung at its feet, Fleur was happy enough to swallow that salt and ask for more. A quick inspection told her the shrine was not some elaborate prank or hoax. The Freya statue was cut from a single piece of limestone, and it was larger than any of the entrances to the cavern. Fleur imagined some ancient master craftsman, touched by madness and devotion, isolating himself in this cavern with a year's supply of dried meat and oil and kindling for fire. Chiseling Freya, her pig, and her altar out of the rock one day at a time. Obsessing over every feather in the goddess's cloak, every hair on the pig's wiry head, every empty socket in the altar's surface. Fleur shook her head, warding off the distracting lines of thought. She resumed recording her notes. There are 9 empty sockets in the altar's surface, arranged in a 3x3 grid. So far, we've found 7 corresponding tablets scattered around the chamber. They're each about the size of a postcard, maybe an inch thick. I've got my team dredging through the lake to find any more. Luckily, the water is pretty clear and shallow. She hesitated, letting her gaze roam across the broad expanse of the cavern, which was about half the size of an American football field, and maybe 15 feet high at its highest point. Normally, one expected silence this far into the bowels of the earth, but today it was filled with a steady, echoing, sloshing noise. Sometime in the last few hundred years, an underground river had broken into the chamber and flooded it with about 3 feet of cold, sweet-smelling water. Fleur had her team of excavators trudging a grid pattern through the shallows in rubber waders, searching for the 2 missing tablets. Nearby, Mr. Kelwig, the operations overseer for this dig, stood scratching his head as he puzzled at the key tablets Fleur had left sitting on the altar. Fleur continued into the mic. Unluckily, several of the tablets had apparently been submerged in the water for quite some time. Every one of them shows some degree of erosion, but 2 are particularly bad. Here she winced, preparing to do something uncomfortable, and admit her ignorance. I can't confidently identify the markings on the tablets. The ones that aren't completely worn away have a linear similarity to Nordic runes. The 2 languages share several common symbols, but not enough for me to make any kind of sensible translation. I'm not aware of any similar written language in the historical record. We might be looking at a newly discovered language, a sister cognate to Runic. That would have been a huge discovery if true, and one that would make Fleur's career. If she could convince Villon to let her publish. Her non-disclosure contract with her employer was pretty strict. Villon liked to keep a proprietary hold over everything discovered within its dig sites. When you made the bulk of your profits selling artifacts to museums and collectors with varying degrees of academic integrity, anything your employers dug up was basically a trade secret. Fleur sighed and dropped her phone into the waterproof pocket of her ugly green waders, then zipped it shut. Her thoughts were running in a dozen different directions at once. She wasn't in the right frame of mind for taking notes. She pushed to her feet and stepped off her rock, wading across 10 feet of ankle-high water to the center island. Any insight? She asked Mr. Kelwig. The older German man shook his head. He had arranged the tablets into 7 of the 9 sockets, and now chewed his lip as he studied them. I suppose we are expected to put the correct tablet into each slot. He spoke Danish perfectly, without any noticeable accent. It would be easier if we knew what the tablets said. Fleur smiled wryly as a thought occurred to her. A year ago, she would have dismissed the idea of mechanically elaborate puzzle traps hiding treasure as some silver screen conceit. Now that she stood before one, she might as well take it at face value. Not necessarily, she told the site manager. There are only 9 variables to the puzzle. That means... She did some quick mental math. Only about 350,000 potential combinations. Kelwig laughed. Oh, I see. You take your notes, go back to the archives, and try to decipher the language. Meanwhile, me and the boys sit down here for the next year, trying every single combination one at a time. Whoever built this place was a master engineer. Fleur eyed the altar. But I highly doubt they built a lockout protocol into their puzzle. If Villon